So who stands to gain from China's demographic collapse and the creation of a silver economy? I love that term, by the way, silver economy. I think it's going to catch on and more financial reporting is going to come around that subject. In the Financial Times here, they talk about sectors ranging from pharma to robotics. And on this channel, we talked about, for example, NVOS in Canada to monitor the health of elderly people. And we also talked about MBOT stock for the robotics part of the surgery. So I think it ends up lining up quite nicely with the global mega macro trend of the aging population. It's not just China that has a collapsing demographic. We're seeing this all around the West. So let's just go over this piece of news. I find it interesting, so I'm happy to share this reporting with you guys. All right, so China's demographic collapse is accelerating. Births fell to a record low in China in 2023, speeding up its population decline. The potential economic drag prompted Chinese stocks to fall after the figures were announced on Wednesday, along with weak property data. Typical reporting, we have no idea if it's correlated. Sometimes weak data makes the stock market go up, down, sideways, or in circles. But it's nicer to put things into context, and we like that as humans. So that's why we point the fingers to that. We've seen weak property data from China for a long time. They've had some property giants fail, falter, require financial support from the government, and the head of that business also went to jail. Not the subject of this video, but, you know, interesting regarding what's going on in China. All right. So this shift has serious implications for the country's economic status. It stymies a 2020 forecast that China would soon surpass the United States as the world's largest economy. But it's not all bad news. Some sectors stand to benefit from Beijing's new policies to cope with changing demographic trends. And with these new policies, I know they have, for example, communal dining for elderly people that the local government has responsibility for. And I think we're going to see more governmental responsibility being taken for example, healthcare. And it's quite interesting. There's potential to make a ton of money to find a solution to this problem in society. All right, the shift has already read that part. The country's population fell more than 2 million to 1.41 billion last year, not a small number, according to government data. The drop, which was more than double that of the previous year, results from both the lowest number of babies being born since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1941 and the highest death rate since 1974. Yeah, it's quite interesting. They used to have the one-child policy, and even though they don't have it anymore, we're still not seeing increasing births in China. But, you know, automation is going to solve that problem in the labor market. I'm not worried about it. A big worry, however, here in the Financial Times is the falling labor supply and, as a result, higher wages. China already faces worker shortages in its manufacturing sector as younger workers shun factory jobs. Average wages in China have more than doubled in the decade to 2022, outpacing those in Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand and Vietnam. Economists call this the middle income trap, and we will see if China manages to successfully navigate this or not. However, once the factory jobs, you know, the workers become too expensive there, then factories pick up their factory and move to another country with lower skilled labor where they can, you know, get away with paying less basically, and the worker is still going to be happy. And that's what they're doing. For example, Foxconn. That's one of the companies that manufacture parts for the iPhone. Picked up and moved. You used to be able to make, I think it was like 2,000 yuan or something like that, real quickly. You could just get in there, do some work, and then have some leisure as a Chinese laborer. However, that company is moving away. So very bad for youth unemployment as well. Right, a quick picture here, illustration of China's expanding silver demographic, this older population here of 65 plus. Of course, there are a lot of projections here. We don't know if suddenly birth rate is going to increase by a lot or if this will hold steadfast, although with current birth rates it's reasonable to make these assumptions, and I don't see anything that's giving me signals that this trend will somehow revert. For example, Japan is a front runner in this, South Korea as well, and they have continued on this trend. So I don't think that China is gonna all of a sudden do something different. I think that this is the way of the world as it is right now. Alright, yet the sheer size of China's elderly population, a fifth of the country's population was 60 years or older of 2022, should mean new growth sectors that should start to attract more funding. Yes, indeed. As investors, we're always trying to get above market returns, and by riding macro trends, well, we could potentially get above market returns. Beijing this week seized the initiative with a plan to develop a silver economy that caters to senior citizens with tailored products and services. A market estimated to be worth trillions of dollars, health-related consumption ranging from medical devices to pharmaceuticals would account for the biggest share of spending among the older age group. Indeed, of course, as you get older, you need more healthcare services. And we will look more into stocks that are providing this service, don't you guys worry. I see in the comment section that you keep suggesting good companies, and as I have the time to look over them, I will also do that. Alright, that push would provide a welcome boost for the biggest local biotech and pharma groups, including Yangshao Hengrui, WuXi Biologics, Shanghai Fushun Pharma, and Sinopharm. These were hurt by an industry slowdown as the COVID-19 effect wore off. Shares of WuXi are down 60% in the past year, while Fushun fell almost 40%. Not familiar with the Chinese stock market. Part of the problem was that in August, the sector became a target of an unprecedented anti-corruption campaign by Beijing. And the reason I'm not familiar with the Chinese stock market is that as a foreigner, I'm not allowed to invest in it, and the companies that are Chinese, that are listed on Western exchanges, are just, not real companies. It's basically a proxy for the investing. And in a famous court case, it was ruled that investors in one of these holding proxy companies had no real rights to, the shares. This was related to Yahoo. They were the unfortunate ones because the Chinese company made a spin-off on one of the companies that Yahoo had ownership in, and they was awarded nothing as a result of this. Look it up, it's a real court case, and it should be a finger of warning to us investors. We don't have the direct control. We could easily lose everything. Much easier to just invest in an Australian miner or an American property company or whatever, where we're protected and our capital is protected. Enough about that. Another overlooked sector has been robotics. As the need for automation in the manufacturing sector grows, top local robotics groups, including Xiasun Robot and Automation and China Shanghai Steep Electric, would be leading beneficiaries. Shares of the latter on the enterprise value to sales basis at present stand at just 2 times a discount to global peers. Fair enough, very reasonable, should be heavily discounted given the ownership structure. The impact of China's shrinking population will reverberate around the global economy, but it should also create the next wave of investment opportunities as government spending shifts to match changing demographics and consumption needs. Very interesting. I think that we should do research into global megatrends such as this silver economy one and how the Asian economies are handling it, since they are further down the path that we as Western nations are marching on. So only a fool would not learn from history, or should be a quote said by some old wise guy. Alright, that's been it for this video covering the silver economy. And as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.